Here's a full 700-word video script for your YouTube channel Global Defense Power on Prithvi-I. In the world of defense technology, one of the most significant milestones for India's strategic strength came with the development of the Prithvi series of missiles. Among them, the Prithvi-I stands out as the first indigenously developed ballistic missile, a symbol of India's entry into the modern missile era. This missile was not just a weapon, it was a statement of self-reliance, innovation, and determination to build a credible deterrence in a highly volatile regional environment. Today, let's take a closer look at the story of Prithvi-I, its design, its role, and the impact it has had on India's defense capabilities. The journey of Prithvi-I begins in the 1980s, under the Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, commonly known as IGMDP. This program, led by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and the Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, aimed to give India indigenous missile technologies across multiple categories. Prithvi-I was the very first product of this ambitious mission. When it was first tested in 1988, it marked a turning point. India had finally joined the select group of nations capable of building its own short-range ballistic missile system. Prithvi-I is a short-range, surface-to-surface ballistic missile. It was designed primarily for the Indian Army, with the ability to deliver warheads with a high degree of accuracy. The missile has a range of about 150 kilometers, which may sound modest compared to the intercontinental missiles of larger powers, but in the regional context of South Asia, it was more than enough to serve as a credible battlefield deterrent. This missile carried a payload of up to 1,000 kilograms, giving it the flexibility to be equipped with a wide variety of warheads, from conventional high explosives to more advanced options if required. What made the Prithvi-I particularly significant was its advanced guidance system for its time. Unlike unguided rockets, this missile used an inertial navigation system, which allowed it to achieve accuracy within a few hundred meters. Later improvements further increased this accuracy. This level of precision gave the Indian Army the confidence that Prithvi-I could be used effectively in combat scenarios against strategic targets like airfields, troop concentrations, or logistical hubs. In terms of design, Prithvi-I was a single-stage, liquid-fueled missile. It stood about 8.5 meters tall, with a diameter of around 1 meter, and weighed close to 4,000 kilograms at launch. The liquid propulsion system gave it the thrust needed for its short, tactical missions. However, liquid fuel had its drawbacks, particularly in terms of preparation time and handling safety. This is why later versions of Indian missiles shifted towards solid fuel propulsion, but for its era, Prithvi-I was a major achievement. The deployment of Prithvi-I into the Indian Army brought with it a new dimension of deterrence. Before its arrival, India largely depended on its air force and artillery for long-range strikes. With Prithvi-I, the Army could now deploy a battlefield missile system that could strike deep into enemy territory within minutes of launch orders. This capability reshaped the way planners thought about India's ground-based deterrence and gave confidence in facing regional threats. Operationally, Prithvi-I was inducted in the early 1990s and formed part of India's strategic arsenal for more than a decade. It was deployed in significant numbers, with dedicated missile groups trained to operate and maintain it. Its road mobile launch system allowed for rapid deployment and made it harder for adversaries to track or target. The missile system became a powerful psychological tool, showing India's seriousness about defending its sovereignty. As time progressed, newer versions of the Prithvi family, like Prithvi-II and Prithvi-III, were developed to meet the needs of different branches of the armed forces. Each version improved on range, accuracy, and payload flexibility. Eventually, the original Prithvi-I was gradually phased out and replaced by more advanced systems such as the Prahar and other solid-fuel tactical missiles. Still, its legacy remains unmatched, because it was the first step that opened the door for India's modern missile program. Beyond its military utility, the story of Prithvi-I carries a deeper meaning. It demonstrated India's ability to overcome technological challenges despite international restrictions and sanctions on missile and defense technology transfers. Developing such a system indigenously required years of research, testing, and dedication from Indian scientists and engineers. For the country, it was a moment of pride, proving that India could stand on its own feet in one of the most complex areas of defense science. Today, when we talk about India's missile power, Whether it's the long-range Agni series, the supersonic BrahMos, or the advanced cruise missiles, we must remember that the journey began with Prithvi-I. It was the first building block that gave confidence to pursue more ambitious projects. For the soldiers who operated it, and for the scientists who built it, Prithvi-I was not just a missile. It was a vision of a stronger and self-reliant India taking shape. And so, the Prithvi-I remains an icon in the history of Indian defense. A short-range missile that carried with it long-term consequences. A modest-looking system that became the foundation for a powerful arsenal. And above all, a reminder that every great achievement begins with a first step. For India's missile program, that first step was Prithvi-I.